Judging by the number of people I crossed paths with in the gym, and the plate mountains I saw wobbling across the buffet, not many people are interested in keeping in shape on Ventura. If you are one of the 6 or 7 that are, here, ladies and gentlemen, we go. The gym on Ventura is fine. It's not a patch on the rocking gym on Iona, and it's not even as good as the slightly older Arcadia. But it has enough kit to close your rings, and on the bright side, you are never going to be waiting for the kit that you want to use. Walking into Ventura's gym is not unlike the opening scenes of 28 Days Later. Chilling. It fills you with dread, and it makes you sweat. I was in here early. I was in here in the middle of the day, and I was in here late. Once, there was 2 other people in here. Well, twice actually, but the second time, it was after it had closed, and there was just me and 2 crew members in there. The crew gym here is better than the shocker that we used to have on Aurora, but still a big step down from what is already a pretty modest offering. There's a wee studio space. This is where the free stretching / hard sell for other classes and PTs happen. If you are one of the very few Ventura guests who wants to do the heavy lifting with Olympic plates rather than buffet plates, then you've got a bench with more plates than even the most charismatic 42-year-old retired athlete can lift. A squat rack and, well, a bench and a squat rack. I did have a crack at using one of the adjustable benches with the squat rack to knock out military press, but they don't quite click together, so it's dumbbells for upper chest and shoulders. You can make do. There's a couple of studio benches which I've only ever seen used for classes before, so why anyone would ignore the proper benches to use them here is anyone's guess. And beyond that, it's the standard issue Techno Gym kit. In order, you have got, deep breath, old folks lat pull down, old folks chest press, leg press, abductor but no adductor, leg extension but no leg curl, seated row, crunch machine, chest press, shoulder press, lat pull down. If you aren't using free weights, then there's nothing for biceps or triceps, though in fairness, I never saw any biceps or triceps on board anyway. It's a bit of a ragtag collection of equipment, and it's been set out in a pretty much random order. Probably the rest of the guests on board are fussier than me, and that's why they refuse to use the place. The cardio kit is all standard issue stuff, more treadmills than you're ever going to get used, 8 cross trainers, 3 bikes for your nan, 2 bikes for your nan's nan, a hand bike, 4 rowers, and a special treat, my favourite manual curved runner. This special treat became extra special for me on this trip. Regular cruise tubers will know that I like to do a daily 5k walking laps of the prom deck whenever I'm on a ship. On Ventura, I couldn't and wouldn't. The unusual prom deck circuit on Ventura includes climbing the stairs at the front, circling around the front of the clamshell, and then climbing back down another set of stairs to continue the lap. Exciting stuff. Unfortunately, the clamshell was in darkness throughout this cruise, and the stairs were chained off. The chains weren't actually there on night 1, so I did get 1 full lap in, but it was obvious by the utter darkness that I wasn't supposed to be up there, so I did my lap and behaved. The last thing I want is for the man to get me. Even if the full deck was open, the prom deck is way narrow in a lot of places, including the designated smoking area, which was well used. Now, I would rather that they weren't there at all, but smokers smoking in the smoking area is where the smokers should be smoking. So that's just a me problem. But people were smoking everywhere on the prom deck, and as per always, there were no staff punching people for misbehaving. I had a delightful interaction with this glamorous creature when I pointed out that she was in a no smoking area. She looked at the sign, then back at me, and she said, "Funk off." But she didn't really say funk. Anyway, back to the gym. It isn't my favourite. In fact, it's the worst ship gym of the year so far, and I've only got 1 more ship on the books. but it will do. If you want to exercise, then this gym will let you do it. If you don't, then this gym will give you the plausible excuse for your laziness. But let me just say this. If you allow the mediocrity of Ventura's gym to stop you from exercising, that reflects more on your negative mindset, failure to put in the effort required, and inability to properly commit to achieving a goal than it does on this adequate gym. And whilst that doesn't mean that your life is over, it does mean that it is basically pointless. I'm not even going to dignify the 4 swimming pools with a proper review here. They are typical cruise ship pools and therefore not really for swimming in. The builders were in the golf nets and sports court while I was on board, so given the evidence as presented to me, I'm going to say it's a renovation brought about by rust or sun damage more than it is overuse. Presumably, in the near future, a brand new and spectacular set of outdoor sporting areas will be proudly unused up here. There are plenty of quoits and shuffleboard markings up here. I don't know how popular they are. I never saw anyone using them, but in fairness, it was pretty chilly up here most of the time, so only idiots were up here. Well, just me. Again. There's nothing of note to tell you about with regards to healthy eating. There's certainly no dining venue that's fitness forward, so it's largely just a question of going easy on the sugar, fat and carbs and saying no to puddings. Ventura make this super easy by making almost every pudding on board tasteless, gelatinous goo. Thanks, Ventura. The buffet would be my usual recommendation for the calorie counters on a ship with no specific healthy dining, but honestly, it's way better being a big fatty than dealing with that car crash. There is a glass lift, so my usual ride it up and straight back down rule applies, but it's only as high as the 3 decks of the atrium. Other than that, if you can, then you should use the stairs. So there you have it. This middle-aged, middle-of-the-road ship is mediocre when it comes to maintaining your superhuman physique. But being fat on a cruise ship is way better than being shredded on land, so there's a new cruise tube every Tuesday and Friday, so I'll see you then. Until that comes, staying fit on Ventura, done.